You're listening to Boobies and Noobies. Find and follow Boobies and Noobies at Boobies Podcast across platforms and on boobiesandnoobies.com. And don't forget at Real Kelly Ray on TikTok, because TikTok thinks I'm making porn if I use boobies in the handle. Thanks, TikTok! Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to a special holiday edition of Boobies and Noobies, the podcast that asks novice romance readers to think outside the dick in a box and brave the unbridled world of erotica. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and Happy New Year, everybody. We're kicking off the season with something a little different. We will be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week. However, to get things started, I thought I would share the recording from our live show performance with my girls, the My Worst Date podcast. This live show was recorded in October 2022, and you will definitely recognize my guest for this episode, a longtime fan and friend of the show, Becky Feldman, host of Too Stupid to Live. We had the pleasure of opening for My Worst Date during their live show this past fall. It was such a blast. We had so much fun. You'll note the format of this episode is a little bit different, and that's because it's a little difficult to review a book in 30 minutes or less. Anyway, I hope you enjoy listening. Becky and I had the funnest time recording this episode. As it is a live episode, you can expect the audio to be a little bit different. If you'd prefer to watch Becky and I's live performance, you can follow us on Patreon. I'll be sharing this same episode in video format on Patreon and Patreon only. Also, don't forget to check today's show notes, as I will be sure to include a link to the My Worst Date live performance as well. You are not going to want to miss the tainted love story they shared during their live show. It is one for the books, so to speak. All that being said, sit back, listen, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the My Worst Date podcast live show. The show will run approximately 1.5 hours and will not have any intermissions. In case of an emergency, the exits are located at the front door where you came in, or there are exits behind the stage as well. Please remember to turn off your cell phones and enjoy the show. Now please welcome to the stage Kelly from Boobies and Noobies and Becky from Too Stupid to Live.
Hello. Thank you guys all for coming out tonight on a Friday night. Halloween weekend Friday night. So thank you for being here. I wish I could see any of you, but I hear you.
I love that I can't see any of you.
No, thank you so much for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelly Reynolds. I host Boobies and Noobies.
Let's go, Queen.
I love this audience. Boobies and Noobies is a romance novel review podcast. The idea is to introduce newbie romance readers to the genre that I love most. And I'm happy to have my wonderful friend and another fellow podcaster, Becky Feldman, here.
Yes. Thank you so much. I host a romance novel podcast as well called Too Stupid to Live. We review romance novels, $5 and under. The weirder, the better.
And we have a lot of fun. Becky and I have been on each other's podcasts more than once. And we love to talk about romance. Clearly, that's why we're here. This would also be the part of the evening where if I could see you, I would say, let's see if show of hands for who's read a romance novel before.
Everyone did.
Yes! Okay, now keep them up, be proud. Now, if that romance novel was 50 Shades of Grey, anything from the Twilight franchise, or written by Nicholas Sparks, go ahead and put those hands down. Great, good to see them. All right. Well, for those of you who have not read, you can put the hand down. I appreciate it though. For those of you who have or have not read romance, it is a genre we love most, and it's something that I think a lot of people have misconceptions about. Becky, what's one thing you think people get wrong about romance novels?
I think people think that like the only people who read them are like sad cat women who don't get laid, and not that doesn't exist.
And we love those
don't
people,
have.
too.
I'm not allowed to have cats in my apartment building, but
There you go.
but like so many different people read romance. Like that, you would think like, oh, it's only one type of like archetype of woman or something, but no, it is for everyone.
Yes, and something that I think a lot of people also get wrong is this idea that it's just straight up porn, and which no shade to porn, but it is definitely a genre that has its varying spicy degrees. There's a little bit of something for everybody, no matter what you like. So that is something we'll talk about a little bit more, and we have a little activity we'll share with the group here. But first things first. We wanted to kick things off with something that My Worst Date, our fabulous friends, also do on their show, and that is a classic game of Would You Rather. Now, of course, we are inserting some of our favorite things about romance novels, archetypes, character types, into these Would You Rather questions. So, do you want to kick it off?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Love your outfit.
which one of us?
I
both.
mean,
I better be both. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So, would you rather be in a relationship with a guy who turns into a werewolf, and also like talks during a movie? Like he will turn into a werewolf at like the wrong time. Like, okay, so I'm like talking like hilarity, like you're at a funeral or like your friend's getting married, and then all of a sudden he's like Kelly, I don't know, like what's happening?
This is it.
But he's really good in bed.
So he's
Okay.
A 9.
Yeah.
He's a 9.
So you have that. So a guy like a wear shifter who just has no control over when it's gonna happen.
Okay.
He's like a 13-year-old boy, but he wolfs.
Great start. Great start. Or
Would you rather have sex with a rock star who's like, I'm going to say Adam Levine-esque
in a good way?
in a
or...
bad way,
Okay. Got it.
but he's the hero of a romance novel.
Oh.
He's like a hero of a rock star. Rock star romance is the thing. It's a rock star romance novel. On the cover of this romance novel, he looks exactly like Adam Levine, but like in the book, he's not. He's like a normal.
You've given me quite an option here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. The werewolf thing would take some getting used to.
How do you think he feels, Kelly?
That would definitely take some getting used to. But I think it's something we could work on together.
Beautiful. It's all about love. Yeah. I like that. I
you
get
know, and
you.
you know, you had the caveat that he is good in bed.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the wolfing never happens when you're having sex, just in case. Like, because that'd be so weird if you're like, he's like, oh, is happening?
I'm glad you added that before I asked that
okay,
question.
Yeah.
So,
That's not gonna happen. I'm not disgusting.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with werewolf. It's going to be awkward. That's not really different from usual, and but it's going to be good in bed. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we can make that work.
Okay.
How about you? I'm curious to know what your answer is.
I feel like in 2 years from now, like maybe I'll have sex with the Adam Levine. He looks like the cover model looks like Adam Levine. Maybe, but like I feel like werewolf guy I'm into as well. Like
Okay.
I feel like
So all three, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's put your hands together.
with all of them. Yeah, love it.
Okay.
Love it. Yeah.
That's another kind of romance novel you can find.
Reverse harem or whatever.
Yeah. I'm a fan. Okay, great. Well then, okay, that I feel like you outdid. You shouldn't have gone first because I don't think mine's gonna match up. But would you rather have a vacation fling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, vacation fling. Your location of choice. With a billionaire. However, every time you're not in bed together, he's telling you about his multi-level marketing pyramid scheme.
Okay.
or have a holiday fling with a pro athlete, but every time you are in bed, he's reciting sports statistics aloud to you.
For the MLM guy, like, am I part of the pyramid scheme? But like, am I at the top of it, where I am actually making money? I'm screwing up like my friends. It's fine. Sorry in advance to those people. But like, am I doing well?
Your fantasy.
Listen, my fantasy is to lose all of my money and go bankrupt by the sexiest man in the world. I'd say sports guy. I think in real life, I'd say sports, because you just turn the music on and let him go, and then you just do your thing.
Well, but it is a holiday
My vibrator
fling.
is so loud though, so it's like I won't
Just
even
drown
hear
him out.
Yeah, louder the better.
It is a holiday fling, though, so I feel like maybe I could just kind of bypass all the hanging out outside of the bedroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If I went with the billionaire, like, do we need to go do things together? I don't. But
Yeah, billionaires. I just like, no offense to the billionaires out there, but like
all the offense to the billionaires out there.
I don't trust that they're moral people. Well, I mean, obviously this guy isn't. He has an MLM, but like all billionaires, I don't like. I'm like, are you paying your workers well? Like, where are you outsourcing? What companies are you outsourcing to? Are they using the
good news
child
is he's going
labor?
to tell you about all of these things.
But is he going to tell me all those things, or is he going to give me the spiel about, you're your own boss? I'm like, bullshit, because I'm not. I mean, because I will easily be drawn in. But if he's not telling me about like how like he that gets his like how is he making his profits?
You're set.
I need to know he pays his workers well.
I feel like I'm learning so much about you.
I'm union, baby.
Okay. Solid answers. Something for everyone to peruse on their drive home. But in the meantime, we did, our wonderful friends at My Worst Date were so thankful to be here, and they put a bucket out at the beginning of the evening asking for your suggestions for Fuck, Marry, Kill. And so we decided, well, we definitely want to get in on the audience engagement and chat with people, because you didn't know you were coming to an improv show. But we are going to do something that is a fan favorite. It's one of our favorite activities, and that is Mad Libs. And so we will be asking for your input. And honestly, this seems like the right crowd for that activity. But keeping in the spirit of it being romance themed, we have to make it a little bit spicy. So
I need it spicy.
Your answers don't have to be spicy. Just know they will be interpreted as we see fit.
We'll think you're a virgin if you give us a nonce. No.
So I've got my handy dandy Mad Lib sheet here, and I'm just going to ask for some suggestions. I might even ask Becky for some, because she has not seen this yet, so it's a treat for everyone. First things first, from the audience, and I'm just going to go with the first one I hear. I need an adjective.
Limp.
Spicy. I did hear limp. Maybe that'll come back later. From the audience again, let's get a number.
21. 69.
I heard 7 first. I'm going 7.
I like how one person, like, it took them a really long time to be like, oh yeah, 69.
69.
Yeah, that's a thing, yeah. Wait, I know there's a sexy number in it that means something dirty.
Yeah, the fact that that was not the first number on everyone's minds means we have not read enough romance novels. All right, Becky, give me a plural noun.
That's multiple, like something with an S at the end. Okay, I'm gonna say oils.
Of course you are. All right, and from the audience, the name of a female celebrity, please.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift it is. Oh, Taylor. All right. And from the audience, a place.
Harem.
Harem? Was that what I heard?
I mean, isn't that a part of a house? I mean, not my house, but like.
It wasn't clear enough, so I went with Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we only have so much time, you know.
I got it.
And can I also get a man's name? Doesn't have to be a celebrity, just a man's name. Chad. A classic. All right, Chad. Okay, and Becky, how about a verb?
A verb, thrust.
Of course.
You asked.
Audience, an adjective. Moist. Someone had to say it. All right. And a plural noun. Ankles? Eggplants?
Eggplants, right? Yeah.
How about eggplant ankles? Put it together.
Stop turning me on right now, Kelly.
A body part. A body part.
Oh my god, I love that because elbows. That was my favorite moment when two people were like, "I'm gonna name the craziest one," and then it was like elbow.
A term of endearment. Bubsy.
Bubsy. This is gonna be great.
Bubsy. I'm stuck on that one. Almost there. A verb.
Run.
Great. And last but certainly not least, an exclamation.
Squirtle.
Bingo, bango. Oh, y'all. All right. Gotta get that NPR voice out. Okay. Her spicy lover. The moment was finally here.
I love her ring.
It'd taken 7 months, but at last they were alone together. No chaperones, no escorts, no oils. Just the two of them. Taylor Swift, the Countess of Jamaica, and her spicy lover, Chad. I want you to thrust me, Taylor Swift said. Chad moaned in response. Together, they removed their clothing piece by piece until they were both moist and naked. Her eggplant ankles heaved, and Chad's heart raced, matched only by the throbbing beat of his elbow. You should see a doctor about that one.
This is the sexiest thing I've ever heard.
That's right, Bubsy. Chad drawled, run for me. Ooh, this took a turn. This went from Boobies and Noobies to My Worst Date.
This just like what I just was like. Can you imagine having sex with someone? They're like, "All right, Bubsy, like,
Hey, Bubsy.
you got it, Bubsy."
That's right. The temptation was too much to bear, and Taylor Swift couldn't resist. She ran there and then, and Chad followed behind with a loud and triumphant bingo bango! And that is her spicy lover.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
The next season of Bridgerton's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have one last thing we wanted to do, and that is we would not be the romance podcasters that we are if we did not make some book recommendations for you. Now, in the spirit of partnering with My Worst Date, we decided that the best way to make romance recommendations was to make them inspired by some of our favorite bad date stories from My Worst Date. So, Becky, you want to kick it off?
Absolutely. Let me just get my life situated here. Okay, so this is from an episode called Okay, the vibes are off, and I think this might have been the most recent one, or a recent one where a woman is having sex with a hot young man, and he asks her for advice about getting into grad
school.
And so,
Which, can I just say, as a professor in my everyday life, very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
So the book I recommend for that, and hear me out. The Librarian and the Orc. And I mean this. I am earnestly mean this. This was one of the best books I've ever read. Because like it makes you realize, like, first of all, who's the real monster? We are. Second, okay, so this is like he's like asking, in this he's asking for advice on how to make his world better. In this, the orc, he can't read, the librarian can, and he's like, hey, how do I rule my orc kingdom? I don't know what's going on. I'm the king of the orcs. And she's like, I read books. I'm gonna help you out. And then there's peace in the orc world.
Yay! Yeah, and I'm just gonna
Sexy
tell
as
you
fuck.
right now, monster romance, it's having a moment. It's having a moment that's lasted since October 2021. So if you want to be up to date on what's happening on what we call book talk over on the TikTok side of things, monster romance for the win.
Listen, if it's a monster, he's getting it.
Okay, but here's the real question is if you had your choice of monsters that you could...
Okay, I know this isn't a monster, but it falls under monster romance just in terms of the genre. Mermen. Mermen, for some reason, just can, they make you orgasm by just, looking at you, and you're, underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I like
also
that.
underwater's fun,
Yeah.
assumingly.
One, I will say, I did just release a podcast episode where the hero was a Mothman, and that was new for me. And Mothmen have tongues. I don't know if anybody else knew, but Mothmen have tongues
Okay.
do things. So
So do orcs, apparently.
there you go.
Very excited for this Mothman
Yeah,
romance.
something to take home and think about. All right. So the one that I chose, this came from the Yeats on Sheets episode. Fantastic. And this was, I actually pulled a small excerpt from the episode. I think this was one that Christina shared. And the story went with, I made some comment about a catapult. He literally stopped in his tracks to ask exactly what I meant. Did I mean a catapult, or did I in fact mean a trebuchet? Cue a very lengthy lecture on all the differences between medieval siege weaponry, while he repeatedly called me and most of the people idiots. And the book that I wanted to share that it was inspired by that one is called All the Feels by Olivia Dade. And it looks cute. Don't let the cover fool you. Okay? Illustrated covers not to be misjudged. But what I love about this book is if you are a Game of Thrones fan, if you are a fantasy fan in any way, this takes place on the fictional set of a TV show that's basically Game of Thrones meets gods and goddesses. And we have a plus-size heroine, love to see it. We have a man with chronic anxiety, love to see it. And they have healthy conversations about consent, we love it. And that is why I chose this book. You have another one, yeah?
I do have another one. Okay, so this is from the episode Giving the Ick. Or that's what it said? Yeah, Giving the Ick.
Titles.
So this was the episode where it was they went on a first date to Buffalo Wild Wings, which that
Naturally.
first of all, that sounds like a great date to me, but then it talks about how this guy refers to his dad as daddy. Now I have two options for that person. If they are not into someone calling their dad daddy, I recommend Boss Witch.
Great. Oh, and it's the season.
It's the season.
Tis the season.
It is the season. It's very cute. It's really like it talks a lot. Like there's a lot of plot lines about like having boundaries with your father and like having like I mean like there's like a lot about like sex and stuff, but it also like the side plots are like she doesn't what does a father make anyway? Really asks the tough questions. But then if you're into that, let me recommend to you Oh Daddy. Okay, it's Oh Daddy, a 20-story erotic bundle by Hayden Ash. If you're into daddy dumb little girl erotica, maybe there's love in it. People are into it, no judging. Let's not judge here.
No kink shaming whatsoever.
Hayden Ash, who I'm assuming is two 12-year-old boys, has a plethora of daddy dom series if you're just like into the whole daddy.
Well, and 20 stories for the price of one.
She had 20 stories for the price of one, and then there are also like 1,000 other stories.
Yeah, the gift that keeps on giving.
Like a real father does.
Oh, God, I hope my dad's not watching. And the last one I wanted to mention, I know it might seem weird because we are at Halloween weekend. However, it will make sense in a moment when I promote my own book. So the last one that I wanted to mention was Chaos Goblins is a holiday episode for Byware State. And this is a story about a Christmas party gone wild. And it ends with somebody getting a little too drunk and making out with the CEO's wife on the dance floor. Now, I'm not going to say that that's the story that I wrote. However, I am going to say that I just came out with my first book. And it is called Meet Me in Los Feliz. Feliz. Like, it's LA, and this event coincided with the release of my book, and this book takes place in Los Angeles during the holiday season, so it seemed like the perfect time to promote and talk about it. But all that to say, yes, there is a bad date where somebody drinks a little too much boozy cocoa and things happen. But
Buy the book.
Buy the book. You said it first. Buy the book. No, that is to say, I will be selling copies of the book in the lobby. I will be signing them. I will be talking to you if you want to talk about it. But this book is so close to my heart because it is everything I love about Los Angeles in one book. And we've got a plus-size heroine. We have got a bisexual British hero who paints his nails. And we have got a lot of holiday fun all over LA. I highlighted a lot of my favorite spots in LA too. So if you decide that you want to buy the book, you can meet me in the lobby later. Thank you. But in the meantime, we are about to wrap our stuff up. And before we do that, I just want to remind everybody who we are, where you can find us, before we bring out the wonderful ladies that I'm sure everybody came here to see. And Becky, why don't you go ahead and close things out?
Okay. My name's Becky. I host the podcast Too Stupid to Live. I also do other things. My Twitter, like walk dogs. I'll walk your dog. Okay. My Twitter handle and Instagram is Beckles212. The podcast is called Too Stupid to Live. The Twitter, etc. is TSTL Podcast, TSTLpodcast.com. And listen, everyone read Kelly's book. It is hot as fuck. No, I'm serious. I like don't mean like, but seriously, it is so good. I highly recommend it. If like it is literally a love letter to romance novels, and I highly recommend it. I'm so proud of you, Kelly.
Oh, I didn't pay her to say any of that. I am Kelly. I host Boobies and Noobies. It is a romance novel review podcast you can find anywhere. boobiesandnoobies.com, at Boobies Podcast, literally across social media except on TikTok because they think I'm making porn. So real Kelly Ray on TikTok. But that just about does it for us. Thank you guys so much. My Worst Date is up next.
Thanks so much for listening. Tune in every Friday for a brand new episode of Boobies and Noobies. And don't forget, you can always catch up on previous episodes on your favorite podcast app or on boobiesandnoobies.com. Happy reading!